Hey, Mean Matt here. So, I was just thinking about how the wrestling world today is. It is kind of shameless now. There's a lot of people who have their reasons for not watching any wrestling of any kind. It doesn't matter if it's WWE, it doesn't matter if it's TNA. It just kind of falls apart, you know. But the main thing that I do want to touch on is, and I did a video recently, and I realized that it's no good, and yeah, it's just kind of terrible. So I thought I would redo it, and that's the whole ECW thing. And to me, the fact is, my brother was into the ECW, so I didn't really watch it that much because I didn't really get the channel it was on. So I knew a bit about it, and of course, obviously, I knew all about it when they had the invasion angle with ECW and WCW. And then, of course, it failed when WWE won. And I was happy because I was always a WWE fan. And still am to some degree. But here's where it kind of really irritated me. Because you had a WWE, instead of going, you got both companies now. Instead of taking your WCW, you decided that you're going to go with ECW, and you're going to take that program and you're going to make it your own. And that's what they did. So they went with One Night Stand. And I'll be honest with you, I was excited. I thought, oh cool, they're going to actually take a brand that they've just bought, and we're going to see what happens. So when One Night Stand hit, it was awesome. I thought it was a great pay-per-view. And then it happened again the next year, in 2006. And then, Vince got to thinking, okay, why don't we bring back the ECW program? I think that would be pretty awesome. So, when it finally happened, and I thought it was pure shit. ECW, to me, was a program like none other. It wasn't like WCW. It was never like WWF. It was its own unique program. It was hardcore. It was... it had the film like you felt like it was a video camera that you had, and you were taping the shows. It had everything that you would have imagined. So Paul Heyman apparently agreed to this whole thing and said, okay, I will put this program in your hands and you're gonna make it. So that's exactly what happened. And no, it wasn't it wasn't an ECW program. It was WWF, or WWE nonetheless, doing ECW. Now, I have a lot of problems with that, and I think you would too, because let's face it, who rivaled more with WWF? WCW, World Championship Wrestling. And me not being a huge fan of WCW, but having watched some of it, I thought, okay, well, why don't we take Thunder, or why don't we take, okay, maybe not Monday Nitro, but let's take Thunder, and we're going to put that on the air, and we're going to make it a WWE program, since WCW doesn't exist. Well, that doesn't seem to faze Vince McMahon, so of course, let's take an already brand name, and we're going to make it our own, but we're going to fuck it up. But, you know, there was a lot of good wrestlers there. You had the late Test Andrew Martin as, well, Test before he went to TNA as the Punisher, and then unfortunately passed away. Um, and you had a lot of other guys there that I can only picture, but I can't think of their names right now. The vampire guy, whatever his name was. Um, and then CM Punk came in, made his debut on ECW, and then you had Chris Benoit, one of, you know, and yes, he was one of the greatest technical wrestlers. The guy that did all that murder shit, that's not Chris Benoit. That was some guy controlling Chris Benoit in his brain. So I will always think of Chris Benoit as the greatest technical wrestler of all time. But this video isn't about him. So, yeah, so that was basically how it went. And then, of course, TNA came about, and that's how it all started, you know. We're gonna, I don't know, if maybe years down the road, we're gonna have a WWE versus TNA, or as it's called now, Impact. Well, I don't know what's gonna happen there. I'm hoping that maybe one day they could have and it won't happen, but we'll say a CMLL, an all New Japan Wrestling invade WWE. It may not happen, and probably won't happen, but that would be pretty cool, in my opinion. Also, you know, one of the biggest things that kind of interest me is that the whole thing about The Rock versus John Cena. Now, right now they have John Cena and Kane going at it, so I don't know what they're gonna be doing with that. In my opinion, if WrestleMania 28 was is gonna be as bad as last year, then there's gonna be a war, because I think Vince McMahon now has this thing where we're gonna have a lot of build up, 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 and when it finally gets there, there's no payoff. And that's exactly what happened last year at WrestleMania. And you know what? We're so fortunate, and there may be a lot of people that disagree with me, but you know what? We're so fortunate to have Triple H and The Undertaker, who had the spectacular. It should have been a main event, but it wasn't. And it saved WrestleMania 28-7. It did. It really did, and it was awesome. But WrestleMania 28 better be damn good, because I'll tell you, the fact is, they're teasing Triple H versus The Undertaker. So I'll see what happens tonight, because apparently Shawn Michaels is going to come back and confront Triple H, and it'll be interesting to see what happens, because we know that Triple H and Undertaker had 2 WrestleManias to wrestle, and I mean Triple H and Undertaker also had 2 WrestleManias to wrestle. So if you're gonna have a trilogy, I think that would be stupid. Now, I know I'm not the biggest Shawn Michaels fan, but if they're gonna have it this way, why not have a triple threat match? We'll have Shawn Michaels, Triple H, and we'll have The Undertaker. But then again, I don't know if that would be a good idea, because, you're not going to end the streak if that's the case. But then how do you explain 2003 with Albert and Nathan Jones? It's one of those things, it has to be epic. And with the whole John Cena and Rock thing, I'm not sure if it's gonna work that way. I hope it does. I really do, because it I never lose faith, but for some reason, it always seems to be disappointing. So anyhow, yeah. Talk to you later. Bye.